ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. Last class we saw how the longing makes us reach perfection, get enlightenment. And two things we saw: the longing mysteriously works, and it is a combination of prayer, humility, self-surrender, and all aspects of sadhana which dissolves ego and makes mind merge in the heart, freeing itself from all vasanas. That we saw in last class, and that longing creating the dawn of spiritual illumination, and finally merging in the divine. So it's a direct experience that we pass through in our spiritual world. One day or the other, we pass through that. So we'll continue with the text. The yearning is like red sky in the east at dawn. After such a sky, the sun must rise. Immediately after that yearning, one sees God. It's a direct experience. We are going to experience God. It is not only an internal limitation, because when we enter inside for our attainment, we turn inward and go and long for God, and it is where my senses and intellect remain. I am unaware of the world at the time of enlightenment. I am unaware of my bodily existence also. I don't know where am I, where is my body. Yet my senses and intellect, in which intellect always, buddhi always goes with ahankara. Buddhi and ahankara are inseparable. So buddhi, ahankara, mind merges in the buddhi with ahankara, and five senses will be there going inside. And with that, you get the vision of God. With that, you will be able to, buddhi is there to recognize that buddhi is a conscious entity. It's consciousness, and it's highly purified consciousness in which mind's interference is not there. So when you have the vision of God, you have no doubt, and you have transcended nature in all its respect. People many times ask, what is the proof of a person having God, seen God? That is a different thing. Yet, is there a thing called God, and is it not a mental illusion, delusion, and all things like that? They cross the mind and go beyond, where mind also doesn't have. We have various levels of existence which we withdraw from bodily existence. Every day nature makes us separate. Again, when we come to the bodily level, mind and this world is there. When we enter into sleep, no more body is there, no more this world is there. What are you? Whom are you seeking in God in waking state? You are seeking God, which you are asking whether God exists or not. First find out whether you exist or not. Who are you? Let God remain in His own place. You don't know who you are. So, with an artificial I in waking state, you are asking that question. Asking, you are no more there. You enter into sleep. And dream world remains as long as you are in with your mind and senses are there. Leaving that also. Now, who is asking whether God exists or not? You are entirely different. Till you know your divinity, turn inward and see the divinity. You can't know whether God exists or not. Any amount of reasoning will not help you because you are in a dream world identifying with the body, which is matter of this world, and telling, I am this body. And this is the whole crux of the issue. God exists. We wonder because they transcend, know themselves independent of body, independent of mind, who they are, what is happening in dream, what is happening in deep sleep, who they are, they know. And they have the right to say whether another has enlightened or not, whether God exists or not. And if anybody says God exists or not, to know, yes, God exists with faith and anybody can reach it. Every person, by the virtue of having taken a body, has a right and capability and just efforts and will is needed to turn inward. No, if you know who you are, you know God also. Because divine understands divine in no time. So the question in Hinduism, the question God exists or not doesn't come. I exist or not, you find out. God exists or not, you will know. Because an artificial I shoots up when you identify body in waking state, is shouting all this. God doesn't exist. It is not scientific. What science is there when you sleep? No science, nothing. So that aspect we want, that aspect which says, yes, God exists. So there we are going to go. And here Sri Ramakrishna is telling about the longing, how the longing should be there, how that girl called upon Lord, because she saw other friends who are moving with their husbands, and she has become a widow before she could know what husband is, what she is. And she doesn't even know that she was married and she had a child. She has a husband once upon a time. Before she could know, he had gone away, and she was searching and found him in God. The absence of, see, many times the misfortune, we don't understand the misfortune turns out to be the thing which can take us beyond all misfortunes forever. The soul, that's why from ancient time we see in Hinduism, in nowadays because of westernization and science and materialism coming up, we are not paying much importance to our experiences. We have been told always accept the inevitable, which cannot be avoided, that suffering, accept that suffering and pass through gladly. And the suffering, it is suffering. To go through that suffering is most difficult but it is unavoidable. You have to go through. When you accept it, whether you accept or not, will be going through. With acceptance, if you go through, God will be gracious to you, to reveal Himself to you. Just an acceptance, because God is ruling this world and nature is governing this universe. So here the acceptance itself is acceptance of God. Till we accept life, our own life, till we start loving ourself, higher self, we have to, lower self must love the higher self. The self loving I love myself is that lower self is loving lower self and making all arrangements for what it needs. Higher self doesn't need anything. When lower self starts loving higher self, wisdom dawns. Knowledge flows. An intuitive understanding comes in our heart to know many things which mind cannot understand. Here we see just the acceptance is making you accept the presence of God. He is the Lord of the universe, and that we are accepting through just acceptance of inevitable what is happening. And then which can be changed, change. Which cannot be changed, accept. The acceptance of world as it is acceptance of God. The acceptance of His will, acceptance of His governance, acceptance of His justice. In nature and God, there is no injustice. So the moment you accept all things, it becomes, you are accepting the reality. We are taught from our childhood not to accept suffering. That has come in recent years, maybe 1 or 2 centuries. Before that, people used to, at least Indians, by their very nature, being introvert, they were able to accept and walk through with courage and strength. Nowadays, the trend is to revolt to suffering, to make life as easy as possible, as comfortable as possible. We were made become as tough as you can within nature, so that you'll be able to withstand all the forces of nature working on human system and serve and sacrifice. Serving and sacrifice needs tremendous strength and a body and mind which is yielded to tapas. Tapas is austerities. Austerities is not to give what mind seeks if it is not going to make you evolve in spiritual life and move towards God. So depriving oneself of all that mind seeks and taking away from God. Many things mind seeks we must be able to give if it is taking towards God and not taking away from God. So all those things we call it legitimate needs of life are given, and then that becomes tapasya. Tapasya is acceptance of hardship of life, to face all the shocks of life. Everybody, you see, now science and technology has advanced so much, but suffering has not decreased. Same amount of suffering is there in different forms. It is changing in form and presenting, that's all. Just like we are changing our form and presenting to nature, nature is presenting her forms and presenting herself to. Enough. One biggest Maya We are so intelligent. Biggest Maya the nature has presented is cell phone. That is sufficient to make the Chaitanya a Jalavastu, the pure consciousness which can understand, and life is expression of consciousness that is becoming matter now. So when we see this whole thing, we clearly understand, yes, God exists. So what I am telling is, to know whether God exists or not, you must know yourself to be divine. Swamiji, after all the whole, his essence of Vedanta, essence of whole Hinduism and essence of all religions, in one nutshell he says, this man is potentially divine. And the whole goal is to manifest this inner divinity by controlling the nature external and nature internal. So this is where we have to reach our goal slowly, emerge from all things and evolve to our fullness. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling immediately after that yearning, one sees God. And all saints, all illumined souls have passed through these things. Tapa, knowledge from Guru or any source, that is Svadhyaya, and tapas, austerity, that is control of mind and body to the fullest extent. As I want it, they must be able to live, because I have to use it for transcending the nature and go beyond. Tapas becomes essential. At the same time, knowledge of this world to the extent possible, and knowledge of myself to the extent possible. What is Jiva? What is Jagat? And what could be Ishvara? So this knowledge, Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana, unconditional surrender to God. Now when it comes to the Ishvara Pranidhana, there the soul enters into prayerful mood, because it is enlightenment. And this prayer is answered when it is backed by longing. I long for God. Longing is what makes the impossible possible. When a soul understands that it has no more possible for him, all his efforts have failed, and impossible is to be made possible, then the approach to God comes. And after all experiments, all efforts, I have done my best and more than what I can do. When it comes, then the soul surrenders. The surrender of soul is called prapatti or pranidhana or sharanagati. And when it's unconditional, it's called pranidhana. I leave something in the forest far away and come away, never to go or see there anything what has happened to it. Like that, I have kept it somewhere, left it for the nature to take care and come away. Like that, I leave myself at the feet of God, never to think of me again. Dha is to keep, pranidha, nidha is to keep it correctly, rightly, nidha. That is, I have left my hold. Dha is to place. I both interest my interest in it, and my hold on it, I am releasing. That is Nidha. Pranidha is total, unconditional, never to take back, never to look at it again, never to claim. I am giving myself Pranidhana. So, these three aspects of sadhana, knowledge of the, to the extent possible or to the extent needed, we need some amount of knowledge. So that amount of knowledge, it is required for us to walk in that path. Now suppose I am going for a pilgrimage. I try to get as much knowledge, as much things from various people. There are people who go on explaining to me how they went, how they experienced, what all the problems that we might get. All this I listen and get this knowledge about myself, of nature, and something about God, which is unseen, unknown reality. For that, I am trying to transcend this nature and go to see Him. So these three, jnana, that is swadhyaya, tapa, that is giving what is needed to the extent it is needed to the bodily and mental existence. Mental existence, intellect and mind take the swadhyaya part, body takes the tapas part, and soul takes the surrender part. That is Ishvara Pranidhana. So my whole being is given to the divine for illumination. So this aspect of sadhana, that we are going to get illumination, is where it ends with longing. Longing is backed by tremendous trust in God. In God we trust. So the trust in God is going to work. Now this trust in God, with which I long for Him, He will give me, I don't have doubt. Just like child has right and demand over mother for everything it needs, like that is the trust. And what answers is faith. Faith is slightly different from trust. Trust is applied, faith is which is sustaining the relationship and sustaining my contact with the divine, and to the exclusion of all other things. For many things, I trust many things in life. I trust my job, I trust my health. All these trusts one day fail. God is unfailing. That makes the faith in God. Faith in God is generated when I know, oh, this is the object on which I can stand forever, in body, without body, in pain, in suffering, in joys, in dangers, always that faith in God, that I can stand, I can hold Him, I can be with Him forever. So this makes us get the illumination in our life. So how the evolution takes place, you see, when we come to this world with all ignorance, we come to this world without knowing anything, but we are carrying a huge load each time. Leaving body, we are going with huge load, karmic load and the vasana load, tendency load. And with that we come into this world and we have to empty this whole load. In this life, I must unload myself. And this load cannot be worked out lives after lives. So much of load I am carrying. How can it go away? Only with illumination. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Jnana Agni Sarva Karmani Bhasmasat Kurute Arjuna. Jnana Agni, the knowledge of self. I am the Atman. I am divine. I belong to God. That divinity, to know I am divine and God is mine. I am His through eternity. And God is Ananda Swarupa. That Ananda is hidden from us. It is there within. It is there beyond. This bodily identity is making me inaccessible to it. Sun is beyond the other side of the earth also. A small patch of cloud is covering the whole thing. And that patch of cloud is making great difference. It is limiting me from all things. I am not able to see the sun because of a small patch of cloud standing above my head. On the other side of the earth, the sun is beyond and rays are going on from all sides of the earth. Only I am not able to see. So this knowledge of existence, I go beyond the cloud. I go beyond the ignorance. And how do I do? Is called sadhana. Through spiritual efforts, dhyana, japa, small exercises I begin with. Prayers, dhyana, then shlokas, bowing down, going to the temple. So slowly we get the strength to penetrate into nature and destroy our inner nature or transcend our inner nature, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, ahankara, all these things I am going to transcend and go. And on the other side, I am going to get that illumination also. As I get released from inside, I can enter into the realm of spirit. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.